Hi, I'm Jessica, and I want to share my painful but important story with you. It's not easy to talk about, but I believe it might help others who face similar challenges. I work as a graphic designer at a tech company in San Francisco. Our office is located in a trendy startup district with colorful walls and beanbags everywhere. The view of the Golden Gate Bridge from our rooftop garden used to be my favorite lunch spot. Everything in my life changed when David joined our company as the new creative director. He came from Chicago with an impressive portfolio and a personality that made everyone instantly like him. David stood out from our casual tech crowd. While others wore hoodies and jeans, he dressed in stylish business casual attire, rode a vintage motorcycle, and had the most fascinating stories about his work with famous brands. From the beginning, David showed special interest in my designs. He said my work had a unique style that the company needed. His praise made me feel valued and special in ways I had never experienced before. Soon, David started inviting me to important client meetings. He said my creative perspective would be valuable, though junior designers usually didn't attend these sessions. I felt honored that such a successful person believed in my talent. Our first coffee meeting happened spontaneously. We both stayed late, working on a crucial project, and he suggested taking a break at the artisan coffee shop next door. The barista knew him by name and his complicated coffee order. David was fascinating to talk to. He asked about my dreams of opening my own design studio, my family back in Portland, and my love for photography. He remembered every detail I shared, making each conversation feel intimate and meaningful. As days passed, our coffee meetings became a regular thing. We'd meet before the morning stand-up, during lunch, and sometimes after work. Each meeting made me feel more drawn to his magnetic personality. My roommate, Olivia, noticed something was different about me. "You've changed," she said one evening. I couldn't hide my happiness, but I kept quiet about David. It felt too precious to share with anyone. David began sending me direct messages on Slack in the evenings. He would share inspiring design work, ask about my projects, or send photos of street art he discovered. Our chats often lasted until midnight. One foggy San Francisco evening, David offered to give me a ride home on his motorcycle. The city buses were on strike, and ride shares had surge pricing. The ride through the city streets felt like an adventure. That motorcycle ride changed our relationship forever. David took the scenic route along the coast, and when we stopped to watch the sunset at Baker Beach, he kissed me. It felt like destiny. Our relationship deepened quickly. We started spending weekends exploring hidden art galleries in the Mission District, watching independent films at the Castro Theater, and trying fusion restaurants in Chinatown. David introduced me to the world of fine wines and high-end restaurants. He knew every sommelier in the city's top restaurants and taught me about wine pairings. Everything felt sophisticated and exciting. He shared stories about growing up in Seattle, studying design in Paris, and building his career in Chicago. Each story made me admire him more, though I later discovered most of them were carefully crafted lies. After dating for 3 months, David surprised me with a weekend trip to Vancouver. He said he wanted to show me the most beautiful city in Canada. We stayed in a luxury hotel overlooking the harbor. The Vancouver trip was magical. We walked through Stanley Park, visited art galleries in Gastown, and had dinner in revolving restaurants with panoramic views. David bought me a handcrafted jade pendant from a local artist. Everything seemed perfect until that Wednesday morning when I came to work earlier than usual. I wanted to leave a surprise breakfast pastry on David's desk, but I was the one who got surprised. On his desk, I found a woman's designer handbag I had never seen before. Inside was a family photo that made my heart stop. David with a gorgeous woman and 3 young children at Disneyland. I put the pastry in the break room and left his office with shaking hands. My mind was racing with questions, but my heart already knew the truth. His missing social media presence suddenly made sense. That afternoon, I did what I should have done months ago. I searched for David's name online, but added his last name and Chicago. What I discovered shattered my world completely. His wife Catherine's Instagram was filled with their perfect family life. She was a successful gallery owner in Chicago, and they had 3 children under 10. Their seemingly perfect life was documented in countless photos. The most recent post was from just last week, their family vacation in Hawaii. Catherine's caption read, "Celebrating 15 amazing years with my beloved husband." David had told me he was at a design conference in Seattle. I felt sick, realizing how naive I'd been. His frequent trips to Chicago weren't just about meeting clients. He was going home to his family. The late-night calls he couldn't take were family dinners. I spent that entire night going through Catherine's social media. She posted about their family traditions, school plays, and date nights. Some of these date nights were on evenings when David was supposedly working late with me. The jade pendant from Vancouver felt like it was burning my skin. I took it off and buried it in my desk drawer, hidden underneath old sketchbooks where I wouldn't have to see it. The next day at work was unbearable. David acted completely normal, stopping by my desk with his usual charismatic smile. Every word he spoke felt like a betrayal. During lunch, I went to the rooftop garden and called my sister Ashley. She listened to my story in shocked silence, then revealed something that made everything even worse. Ashley had seen David with his family at a restaurant in Chicago 2 weeks ago when she was there for a conference. She hadn't mentioned it because she assumed I knew he was married, that we were just colleagues working on projects together. That evening, David messaged about meeting for dinner. Instead of replying, I sent him a screenshot of his family photo from Catherine's Instagram. His response didn't come until the next morning. When he finally replied, his message was filled with the usual excuses. He claimed his marriage was loveless, that they were only together for the kids, that Catherine didn't understand his creative spirit. Every excuse sounded hollow. Through a junior designer, I learned I wasn't the first. There had been another designer last year who suddenly moved to our Seattle office after a complicated situation with David. The next day, I drafted a long email to Catherine. My fingers trembled as I typed, but I felt she deserved to know. I attached photos from Vancouver and screenshots of our conversations. Before sending the email, I took a long walk along the Embarcadero. I thought about Catherine, their children, and the family they had built together. I thought about the pain my email would cause. In the end, I didn't send the email, not because David deserved protection, but because I couldn't bear the thought of hurting those innocent children. They were too young to understand. Instead, I sent a formal email to HR requesting an immediate transfer to our Austin office. I had always loved Texas, and now I had a compelling reason to make the move. I wrote a brief, professional message to David stating that I knew everything and wanted no communication outside of necessary work interactions. His response was predictable, a long message about our special connection, how he'd never felt this way before, how he would leave his family if I gave him time. I deleted it without replying. The hardest part was returning the jade pendant. I left it on his desk early one morning with a note saying, "Give this to Catherine. She deserves all your gifts and your honesty." My transfer request was processed quickly. Perhaps similar situations had happened before, or maybe the HR director saw the desperation in my eyes during our meeting. The final 2 weeks in San Francisco were a blur. David tried to speak with me several times, but I always stayed in public areas. I never wanted to be alone with him again. On my last day, I discovered that Catherine had posted new family photos from their trip to Mexico. David had taken time off work to be with them, right after telling me he would be busy with client meetings. Moving to Austin became my fresh start. New city, new team, new apartment. Everything helped me rebuild my life away from the web of lies and heartbreak. Sometimes I think about Catherine and the children. I wonder if she suspects anything about her husband's secret life in San Francisco. I hope she never has to endure the pain of discovering the truth. 8 months have passed since I moved to Austin. I'm stronger now, and I know my worth. Most importantly, I know what I deserve: honesty, respect, and genuine love. This experience taught me to trust my gut feelings. When something seems too perfect, it usually is. Real love doesn't need to be hidden or built on deception. Looking back, I realize that David's perfect image was just a carefully constructed facade. Behind the stylish clothes and charming personality was a man who thought he could live 2 lives without consequences. Now I run a support group for women who have experienced similar situations. Through our online community, we share our stories and help each other heal. It's surprising how many women have faced the same betrayal. Life has taught me that sometimes the most painful experiences bring the most important lessons. They reveal our inner strength and help us understand what truly matters. To everyone watching this video, if someone seems too perfect, look closer. True love is honest, transparent, and never hurts others. You deserve nothing less than complete truthfulness in your relationships. Please share this video with friends who are learning English. Give it a thumbs up if it helped you practice your language skills, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts about trust and relationships.